These are TikToks that give me nightmares. Before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to Dreamy Stylio.2, Pam Moody 3656 at Clarence at TB7 Zulu Juliet, and Miss Jer. Today we're going to look at scary TikToks that keep me up at night that have been sent to me. Let's check out this first one and see what it has to say.
Now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion,
no.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl.
Wow. Michio Kaku is amazing. So what happens a lot is when I talk about this, people roll their eyes and look at me like I'm crazy. And I tell them, hey, this isn't just me spouting off. I've got evidence, like, a world-renowned physicist named Michio Kaku is saying that they were experimenting with, and this was 20 years ago. This was 2004, I believe. They were experimenting with lasers into clouds to cloud seed them. He was talking about how they cloud seed them, that laser hits creates ions, which then allows a rainfall. So this is not crazy. This is reality. This can be weaponized. Anybody can see that. And I've made many videos on this where I've shown how water vapor is put into the air, millions of tons of it maybe into the air in the Gulf with bunker ships. Those are the big oil tankers, oil rigs out there with unlimited fuel. They can, with their engines, put up these steam clouds. I've done videos where they've shown about 20 or 30 or 40 of these just sitting in the Gulf, not going anywhere, putting up all this water vapor. Then when it's up there, you can spin it potentially with a HAARP, or you can cloud seed it probably with metallic nanoparticles. And then you can get it to dump all of its rain with laser beams. There's a really amazing YouTuber named Into Thin Air that shows this a lot. He always shows that NEXRAD radars are steering these storms and hurricanes. He also shows you'll see these straight lines keep going through on the radar screen, zapping these clouds, and that looks like that's what's happening here. It's dumping water and from these massive cloud masses that they've created, and then they are able to dump massive amounts of water into areas like they just did with Roswell, Hurricane Helene. I've done videos how they stared that up there, and then once it's in position, they'll turn all the NEXRAD radars all around it on to keep it there, and then they may be zapping it with these lasers, which then dumps biblical proportions of rain into the mountains and wash everybody out at a time when they were already looking to get people out of there for the lithium mining that they're doing. So let's see what the next video we have is here.
Hey, it's Glamham. It's no secret that this flight pattern has bothered me and a lot of people. Flying 2 weeks before Hurricane Helene was announced, mainly because it's around here. So I thought, where else is this special NASA P3 Orion flown? Go look and I see, Ontario, California. So I check it. It seems to be doing some exploring of the Salton Sea, and then definitely seems to be very interested in the area near the Salton Sea. So I think, does NASA have something to do with the Salton Sea? Well, it does, big time. Apparently, since 2008, NASA has had a presence there. Now, I'm sure there's tons of biology and geology reasons that NASA would have been there. But I look at this. What is at the bottom of the Salton Sea? Lithium. And I feel, what? Not just any lithium, the world's biggest deposit of lithium in geothermal brine. Enough to produce batteries for 375 million electric cars. I have no particular direction I'm going with this video. All I know is, once again, I thought that is a coincidence. See you in the comments. Take care.
Wow. Okay. Shout out to Glamham Radio, and the first one was Mystic 17. So, what she is showing there is that a P3 Orion was flying around the exact area that was hit by Helene, and it seemed to be really, it did kind of a line pattern back and forth, and then circled at the ends, and then circled in the middle there around Anderson, North or South Carolina, whatever that area is there. And then she talks about how this thing was also in the Salton Sea area, where there's also lithium deposits. So what she's saying is, in two instances there, the same P3 Orion is flying around, and in both instances there are massive amounts of lithium there. So we have to ask ourselves, so it's obvious that they're there because of the lithium that they're doing, but what are they doing really? Well, the P3 Orion is a old Navy ASW aircraft, anti-submarine warfare aircraft. It's got 4 turboprop engines. It can loiter for 14 hours. It used to hunt submarines and then destroy them. It did have charges that it could, depth charges it could set, but it also had sonobuoys. But what we are most interested in is the tail. It's got a tail, a bumblebee tail that sticks out from the end there, and it detects magnetic anomalies. It used to be able to fly over the water and detect large magnetic anomalies, such as would a sub do in the water, and so these things are very sensitive. So it looks like what they're doing is using this NASA P3 to fly over these areas that have magnetic anomalies. And I'm sure metal deposits or lithium deposits would have this magnetic anomaly. So what they're doing is they're using this thing to be able to pinpoint the locations in which to mine this stuff. Nobody else is talking about this. Only on Ultra Top Secret are we talking about why these P3s are flying over these areas. A lot of these TikTokers are showing this flight plan, but not really giving context. But here at Ultra Top Secret, that's what we do. So shout out to Glamham. She is awesome. Let's check out this next video and see what they got. Shout out to Shenanigator there. If this is true, and it looks like it is to me, it looks like there's somebody driving around and shooting sparks or flame or jelly flame it into the ditches along the road there where all of the material has accumulated, and if it's been dry for a while, that would start forest fires. Very low-tech way to do that. I've also heard of Antifa types doing that whenever they're angry, but there's high-tech ways that they're doing this as well in California. They're able to create droughts with HAARP. That's just science. That's not conspiracy theory. There's been many articles on this. CNN put one out, and there's articles about CNN put one out about China doing this, and there's also articles that in Spain and Europe they also do this on purpose, where they keep an area from raining because of tourism purposes, beachfront and all that kind of stuff. So they're able to drought these areas, and then with directed energy weapons and other low-tech means, they can then start these areas on fire. So, and there's been military intelligence groups that have confirmed this. California likes to start these fires in their state, so then they could get. They're blowing all their money. So what they're doing is they are doing this type of stuff to then get the federal billions in national disaster aid and then blow that as well. So let's see what else we got here. This is, okay, let's check this out. So that was Yucca World. Shout out to Yucca World. So what they're doing there is they're showing that there are waves going on in the atmosphere, and we could see in that one situation there in that cloud, we could see the ripple effect of something going off there in that cloud. We know that HAARP is able to use HF frequencies to bounce this energy through the atmosphere. We also know that they're able to direct it into the ground. I've done many videos on this. Go check them out on the weaponization of weather, hurricanes, flash fires with directed energy weapons, and earthquakes. It looks like HAARP, when they aim their array into the ground, they can potentially get some response. And when they fire these energies into the earth, the energies might come back out tenfold or many times more than what they put in. Very, very scary stuff. I want everybody to know that directed energy weapons, seismic weapons, weather weapons, cloud seeding, hurricanes, tornadoes, these are things that are for real. This isn't science fiction anymore. Hurricanes and tornadoes have electromagnetic effects to them, and many times in New Orleans, people have taken videos of weird purplish blue and greenish electromagnetic energy happening. Francine in September 11th was a concocted hurricane, just like Milton and Helene. And by the way, we are halfway through November, and they're talking about another hurricane forming right now and potentially hitting Florida. And these hurricanes have been dead on. The one that hit New Orleans directly. The one that hit Asheville, North Carolina hit it directly after the P3 came there and mapped it all out, and the one that hit Florida hit Tampa directly. Asheville and Tampa are both smart city initiatives. These smart city initiatives is a way for UN to get into America and do land grabs. They go to the local politicians, have them bribe them to sign these deals where they say, yeah, we'll do a smart city initiative. And then after they sign that, they've got 5 years in which to implement it. So we're seeing in Ventura County, California right now that the local politicians signed a initiative for smart cities in August, just this August, and then boom, there's fires going on in Ventura County, of course. This is not science fiction. This is not conspiracy theory. This is for real. It's reality. It's time for a lot of people to wake up. So our next video, let's go check it out.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they found 2.34 billion tons of neodymium in Wyoming? You know, a magnetic mineral which is pretty vital to computer technologies. Wouldn't it be crazy if Chariot Mining just found the first hard lithium deposits in Wyoming in the last month or so? Wouldn't it be crazy that while all these hurricanes are going on, there is a massive wildfire engulfing the mountains of Wyoming right now, which has burned over 78,000 acres? Wouldn't it be crazy if the media appears to be just ignoring the fact that there is this massive fire in Wyoming? Wouldn't it be crazy if Chariot's stock price has gone up nearly 40% in the last month? Wouldn't it be crazy if these massive fires are only 45 minutes away from Black Mountain, the main project of Chariot Mining Company? That would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned all these areas, and Wyoming is another one. So we've had massive wildfires in the Wyoming area. So basically what's happening is these guys are using so-called natural disasters. They're complaining about, and they're using global warming. Oh, these are all happening because of global warming. And so they're able to set up these disasters and then do these land grabs. So like he said there in Wyoming, they've got more lithium deposits. So we see that they're interested in the Salton Sea area, the Asheville area, the Wyoming area for all of these lithium deposits. Glamham had mentioned $540 billion worth of lithium there at the Salton Sea, enough to make 375 million electric cars. Yeah, so that's what's going on. It's a very, very scary times that we live in, and it's time for everybody to wake up. This is not conspiracy theory. This is real science that they've been working on. They have known about it for a while, and the media is covering up for them. Let's see if we can watch one more here. Okay, last one.
1983, I did radiotomography with 30 watts, looking for oil in the ground. I found 26 oil wells over a 9-state area, and 100% of the time was accurate with just 30 watts of power beaming straight into solid rock. HAARP uses 1 billion watts beamed straight into the ionosphere for experiments. Picture these strings on the piano as layers of the earth. Each one has its own frequency. What we used to do is beam radio waves into the ground, and it would vibrate any strings that were present in the ground. We might get a sound back like, and we'd say, that's natural gas. We might get a sound back like, and we say that's crude oil. We were able to identify each frequency. We accomplished this with just 30 watts of radio power. If you do this with 1 billion watts, the vibrations are so violent that the entire piano would shake. In fact, the whole house would shake. In fact, the vibrations could be so severe underground that could even cause an earthquake.
Yep. As a matter of fact, there was a hurricane that was in the Pacific, kind of going toward Hawaii there, and as it was passing over the Pacific Ocean, there was an earthquake that formed directly, an earthquake that happened absolutely directly underneath the hurricane. And when I saw that, I was like, uh-huh. That's that HARP stuff. They're probably using HARP to spin this hurricane. And when they directed that energy in that area, it flared up a potential area of the earth there that started the earthquake. So that was Paystix, and the other one was The Universe Calling. So shout outs to them. This is for real. This is not weapon. Weather weaponization is a real thing. It's time to wake up. They're using this to do land grabs and create natural disasters so they can then herd us into smart cities, and then they can get into these areas where these mineral deposits are. So please like, share, and subscribe. If you comment and subscribe, I will shout out your name on the next video. So that's it. We're going to get on out of here for Ultra Top Secret, and be safe out there. Things are going to get crazy.